Thank you, everybody. At the onset, I must thank the organizers for inviting me and giving me this opportunity of addressing this August gathering. And as I can see, that even at I think it's almost 7, and the audience and the hall is pretty much full. So I'm sure all of you must have had a very invigorating dose of what a workplace is all about and how the best workplaces can be created. And therefore, I'll not really bore you much, and I'll not talk much about workplaces, but I'll talk about how a destination can become something where people would love to come and stay, and people would like to stay and be there and live in that particular area. How cities are developed, and what are the thoughts that perhaps should be there in development of cities. Friends, cities are as old as mankind, and in fact, the earlier cities were all set up near the river basins. As time went on, cities evolved, they grew, technology came in, and after the Industrial Revolution, everything changed. Cities became industrial hubs, and therefore we had cities which were very, very much near industrious workplaces. We had, for instance, a city like Manchester, which came up where there were, the spinning mills and the power looms, so that is how it came up. We had cities which came up near mines, coal mines. We had cities which came up near ports. So there needed to be a magnet, and people agglomerated around that area, and the cities grew. Now, cities grew in the initial days organically. So, as they grew organically, they were not very well planned, and they were congested. And there have been several calamities. Like, for instance, the city of Edinburgh once had a great plague, and it is said that the new city is built on top of that old city. The city of Seattle had some issue, and it is said that the new city is built on top of that old city. So these are certain historical instances, but essentially, cities which were, the older parts of the city were not planned, and cities which came, the later parts of the cities were planned, and finally we evolved to a mechanism where, so whether development comes first and people, and then planning later, or whether planning comes first and development later, that is how it is. Mumbai and Mumbai's adjoining area is a very interesting, case. And since we all live in Mumbai and since we all work in this area, and we will be focusing our work on other places, so we find that, Mumbai 16 something, I think 1648 or 43, when the Mumbai was handed over to the British by the Portuguese, which essentially means that even before that, there was something there, and it was worthwhile for a foreign power like the Portuguese to come and hold possession of this particular area, and it was something which they found worthwhile to be given as dowry to the British. So that is how the history of Mumbai starts. So what is the undeveloped part of Mumbai? Now, very interestingly, the undeveloped part of Mumbai is actually the Kolivadas, which are undeveloped even till date. And when we say undeveloped, it means that they still have the old living styles and they have the old living, ways in those areas. Later on, the development occurred around the docks. It's a great fashion for the Indian people and many of the intellectuals to say that the British did a great work. And they built, oh, what a beautiful VT station they built, and what broad roads they have built. If we actually look back in the old photos, then we'll find that in front of the BMC's headquarters, there was no road. It was actually just an area which was left vacant. We'll find that, in front of the VT station, there was no road. It was an empty place. And in those days, mostly people used to travel. They used to walk or they used to come by a cart. And these were all, roads which were motorable only in certain parts of time. And also a question which always needs to be asked, that if you rule a country for 200 years and then you build only a railway line from Thane to Mumbai, then is that development? So India was actually faced with a very, very sad issue, that from being the largest or second largest economy in the world and contributing to more than 25% of GDP of the world, we were reduced to contributing less than 1% or less than 9.9% of the world's GDP when the country became independent in 1947. And therefore, in those days, with lack of resources, then the government became the biggest and the richest entity. And therefore, in those days, the public sector to be the towering, face of the economy. That is how it was. And working in the public sector was, in fact, the most valuable and the most interesting place to work. And in a public sector job, in those days, we did not have issues of workplaces. Getting a job was good enough. And if you have got a job, then you are assured of a promotion. Your job is guaranteed. There was a union which used to be very powerful, and therefore, and people's requirements and needs were less. Now, fast forward to 2025. India is the third largest economy in the world and will very soon be 5 trillion, very, very soon. In fact, we might be, because there are two types of national accounts. One is the organized national account and the national account which is not organized. That national account which is not organized in India is big. So if that comes into the system of accounts, then maybe we are already 5 trillion and maybe we are, very near to the second largest economy. But be it as it may, as of now, we are second largest, and therefore, in this time, the challenges have differed. And earlier, there was no point of putting people first. There was no point for any person in the top management, whether he was a owner or whether he was, the top management. There was no point for him to think, "Yeah, how do I retain staff, and how do I, retain people today with the kind of opportunities that we are having? If a chap has talent, then people chase him. Well, if he doesn't have talent or if he's not hardworking enough, then the old story prevails. But if he has talent, then it is for the company to retain that talent. And to retain that talent, the company must do something to make his working space good. Normally, when we speak about making good workspaces, the architectural thought takes over, and therefore people speak about very good hygiene factors, very good, good lighting and good infrastructure in the sense कि table अच्छा हो and presentation करने के लिए हो, computer हो, broadband हो and all that stuff. Now I would say that whether you are designing an office building or whether you are designing a city, and at the end of the day, anything more the bigger than that, what is most important is the people. What do they want? What is their aspiration? The aspiration of a person at Aurangabad, or which is now called as Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, or the aspiration of a person at Nagpur, is very different from the aspiration of a person at South Mumbai. Therefore, the workspace needed at these places at South Mumbai would be very different from a workspace that is needed in, say, Amravati. So that is one very key thing. But there are certain very, very common factors which are there everywhere, and especially in metropolitan cities, where we have people coming from all walks of life. And that is number one, safety. People want to feel safe. Women want to feel safe. Number two, empowerment. People want to feel empowered. Everybody wants to feel empowered. Number three, creativity. People want to see, most people, for them, the work is a great place for expression. People just don't work for the money. They just don't work for the salary paycheck. They also work for some amount of self-expression and performance. And therefore, creativity is one of the very, very important factors that come into it. And therefore, for all these things, you need to have a place, a workspace. If it has to be safe, then that workspace itself shouldn't be safe, but also the way you come to that workspace and the way you leave the workspace, that needs to be safe. When Bangalore had incidents of Uber drivers, or I shouldn't had incidents of certain taxi drivers, etc., attacking and assaulting passengers, then at that point of time, if we see the figures, then a lot of people have actually left Bangalore, those who could migrate, and they have migrated to Hyderabad or Pune or some other place. So that's how the whole thing becomes. And then the greater part of a workspace is the city. So when you develop a city, then that city should be safe, that city should be inclusive. People from all walks of life should feel that they belong to that particular city and the requirements are different. I think when we talk about larger cities and when we talk about these places, so nowadays we talk about the infrastructure. So we talk about roads, and we talk about the suburban railway network. We talk about the metro rail network. And in Mumbai, we are in fact building one of the largest road networks in the world ever attempted at one given point of time. We are building the largest metro network ever attempted at any given point of time. We are attempting the largest slum rehabilitation, effort ever undertaken at any given one single point of time. We are undertaking just outside Mumbai, in Navi Mumbai, we are undertaking the largest housing effort ever being attempted anywhere in the world at this given point of time. So, a lot of such kind of things are indeed happening. Infrastructure essentially makes it easy for people to, live in a particular city. But in addition to that, what is very, very keenly required and deeply required is the cultural mix. What is the cultural mix that we are having in this place? Is the city inclusive? And if it is so, then how inclusive is it? Is it inclusive just in the terms of, mm, uh, you know, uh, like, I say I like you, but actually I do not like you at all. So that also happens. But other thing is, that some places people are welcoming and inclusive. So similarly, in the workspace, are people welcoming and are people? Uh, what is as you do something in the office? What do you do after office hours? So does the city have proper convention centers? Does it have proper auditoriums? Does it have proper playgrounds? Does it have proper clubs? Does it have proper cinema theaters, exhibition grounds, and all these things? So all these things come together. The infrastructure that is there, the opportunities for housing and affordability of that housing, the opportunities for having a working space and the affordability of that working space, the cleanliness of the air and the cleanliness of the city overall, the cultural mix that is there in that city. What do you do in your post office hours? All these things totally go on into how a city is, and it also, at a very macro level it comes here. At a micro level, in any workspace, suppose there is a large building. So when I came to Mumbai about 15 years back, so I realized one thing very soon. In Mumbai, distance is measured in terms of time, and the time has two components. There is a horizontal component and there is a vertical component. So if you are going to the World Trade Center, so it takes certain time from where you are leaving to reach the World Trade Center. And then in the morning, there's a line in the lift. So it takes you 15 minutes to reach the lift. And then the lift takes X amount of time to reach whichever floor yours is, 20th floor, 16th floor, 9th floor, 18th floor. So it is measured by that particular point of time. And with this, type of thing, how well we are connected with each other is something that becomes very important. Now, I'll tell you what we are doing in making this connectivity better. In 1995, the mobile revolution entered India, and we got all connected by means of a mobile network. What was required earlier, you need to apply for a phone call, for a telephone, that became available to everyone. Today, Mumbai is getting connected by a road network and a suburban rail network, but in addition, it is getting connected by a metro network or a metro rail network. And the metro rail network, which initially was only for 11 kilometers, then went up to 60 kilometers, 69 kilometers. Currently, we are having 69 kilometers of operational metro. Then went up to 337 kilometers. Now, if you take the entire Mumbai metropolitan area, we are connecting it by 450 kilometers. 5 years from now, from Badlapur to Nariman Point would be a time of something like 45 to 50 minutes. Very soon, as the coastal road became, available to us, the time from Nariman Point to Bandra, which used to take an hour, is now about 20 minutes. The Mumbai Trans Harbour link has linked, the city of Mumbai to the hinterland. Now, is this just an engineering work? No. It is unlocking the potential. It's unlocking. Mumbai lacks land, so it is unlocking land for Mumbai. People there want access to Mumbai, so it is giving the access to Mumbai on this side. All this is going to provide opportunities on people on both sides. So the entire metropolitan region is getting connected. And a very interesting thing is happening. Mumbai and Pune, the metropolitan areas of Mumbai and Pune, they are slowly inching towards each other. In the next 10 years, maybe these two also will come together. So what we talked about, the Mumbai-Pune corridor, that Mumbai-Pune corridor will become one corridor. Similarly, there is a bullet train that is being built. Now, MMRDA is going to develop a multimodal hub at Dharavi, which will connect all these things together. So, in the bullet train, the time taken to go from here to Thane will be 10 minutes. From here to Palghar will be 30 minutes. So, the time that it takes to go from Malabar Hill to Nariman Point in peak traffic, that is 30 odd minutes, that will be the time that will be taken to reach from BKC to Palghar. This is the kind of connectivity that is going to be available, and this is the amount of space that is going to be available for various kinds of activities. So, if you want to set up an office, that office can be at Palghar, and it can be a larger and a bigger office. It can be a safer office, and people can, as the office starts, a small bus service can ferry that passenger from the Palghar bus station, from Palghar bullet train station into that office, which today is unthinkable for people in. Parallelly, the whole power network is being built all around the area. Parallelly, the full, fiber optic cable network is being laid everywhere. So the mobile connectivity, the road connectivity, the power connectivity, the rail connectivity, etc., all things are happening at one given point of time. And what this is going to do is it is going to get people very close to each other. It is going to make available, certain things in certain spaces which were not available for all of us, or which we thought are not of use at this particular point of time. It's going to provide a huge challenge to the existing city of Mumbai, because the advantages of this existing city will slowly, the arbitrage opportunity in the other areas will enter into this part, and therefore the whole new thing will come up. Friends, in all this, ultimately, what will matter, in my view, is the people, and how do we handle diversity, how do we handle inclusion, how we handle equity in this changing workforce, and this is moving very, very fast. So, how do we handle all these things in this small point of time is going to be the biggest challenge that we have. Therefore, I think ultimately the soft challenges are going to be more difficult than the hard challenges of building the infrastructure or building the facility. With these words, I would like to conclude my talk, and I would like to thank all of you for giving me such a patient hearing, and I would like to thank the organizers for having invited me for this event and giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.